Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout. My name is Joe and today I'll be revealing my team for Game Week 8 if I was wildcarding. I'm not wildcarding as I've used it already, but many others haven't and may be tempted to during this international break. Before we go on, reminder, do press that like button. It really helps us out. And do remember to subscribe so you can be up to date with our latest videos. And podcasts, if you're listening to the podcast version of this, do leave a 5-star review as well. It does help us out. All decisions with form and fixture need to take into account the best quartet of players. So we're going to focus on them. Who are those 4 key players? I think you probably know who they are. So if you're wildcarding this week, that is going to be absolutely key. We're going to look at fixtures as well. I'm also going to do, as I did in a previous wildcard video for Game Week 4, I think this was, Game Week 4 or 5, I'll show the wildcard in Game Week 8, and I'll see how it progresses Game Week 9, 10, 11, and I'm going to go up to Game Week 12. And we could go on forever, but I'm just going to go up to Game Week 12. I'll also reveal my thoughts about wildcarding at this time and why I've sort of accidentally stumbled upon a wildcard I really like, so I'm slightly regretting using my wildcard at the moment because I really like the team I've come up with here. You may not like it, you may prefer other players. Do leave your comments below and you know who you're going with, perhaps if you're wildcarding this week, whether this has been of any help as well. Okay, so let's have a look at this sort of Fab 4. And it's Haaland, Palmer, Saka, Salah. You knew this already. These are the heavyweights. Haaland and Salah, enormous expensive. Haaland's 15.4 now. When I did this, I don't think he's gone up since. Salah 12.7, but he may go down this week. Palmer 10.8, he's gone up, and Saka 10.1, he's gone up in price as well. So they're starting to move up in price as well, so it makes it difficult to hop on and off. So you probably want as many of them as you can, but obviously you can't afford them all and have a credible rest of the side as well. So I'm also going to give the proviso that, once again, not a lot of content creators admit this, but we're probably wrong. We're probably wrong, and if we are, how do we rectify it as well? So with all the decisions I've made on this wildcard, how do I run away from those decisions? I did the same with my own wildcard a couple of weeks ago. If there's any problems with that, I've got in mind how I'm going to run away from certain players as well. So you don't want to stack it with loads of 4.5 players and you've got nowhere to run to, but you want sort of some cash cows within there. Want some you can perhaps borrow £3 million from, and invest that in a heavyweight player if you don't own one of those as well. Okay, I'll just read out the stats for the benefit of those listening on the podcast version. Haaland, no assists but 10 goals. Wowzers. He has created 4 chances. Minutes per expected goal involvement is every 91 minutes a goal involvement a game. Minutes per baseline bonus every 9.4 minutes, so he's strong on bonus as well. Shots on target, a mighty 23. He started all 7. Palmer, not too shabby as well. 11 attacking returns, 6 goals, but 5 assists as well. He's created 23 chances and shots on target 11. So not as his goal threat is lower, but his chance creation is great, and his goal threat is still high. So that adds up to strong returns there. Minutes per expected goal involvement every 98.2 minutes, so that's not as good as Haaland, but still very, very strong, more or less a goal involvement a game. Minutes per baseline bonus, very strong thanks to that chance creation, every 5.1 minutes. Baseline bonus, by the way, for those that don't know, that's the stuff that goes into the bonus points system, that calculates the bonus by the end of it. So the stuff, like creating chances and shots on target, those types of things. Next up is Saka, not too shabby here. He's got 9 attacking returns, 7 assists. Wow, that's a record so far. And 2 goals. Created an amazing 27 chances. Minutes per expected goal involvement every 108.6 minutes. So he is pretty much a goal involvement a game. Minutes per baseline bonus, so strong. Every 4.3 minutes, he's racking up one of those metrics there for the bonus. Shots on target, 11, same as Palmer, 7 starts. All of them 7 starts. Salah, 7 starts. 4 assists, 4 goals. It's 8 attacking returns. Wow. Created 14 chances, 14 shots on target to minutes per baseline. Minutes per expected goal involvement every 108.8 minutes, so very similar to Saka. All of them are pretty much expected to get a goal involvement a game. Sometimes they might get more, as we've seen with Palmer and Haaland, and Saka indeed, and Salah, all of them. Salah's minutes per baseline bonus strong as well, every 6.6 minutes. That's much better than last season. It's sort of favouring him this season. So, as you can see, I mean, it would be great. I'd have all 4 of those, get some cheaper players, and just sit back. But those cheaper players are going to be an issue. You need them to keep performing. And also, you might get some weeks where Haaland blanks. He did last 2 weeks. You might get weeks where Salah blanks. He did last week. You might get weeks where Palmer just gets an assist or blanks. He only got an assist against Nottingham Forest. You might get weeks where Saka just gets an assist or even blanks. He hasn't blanked yet, though. But he might get some strong returns. So you're relying on these 4 players. I mean, what 4 players to rely on? But nevertheless, you are relying on them. So I favour a sort of, for a wildcard, is a mixture of these players, but not all of them, and to invest that money elsewhere. For players like perhaps Alexander-Arnold, Havertz, Watkins, and Bomo, these are all really strong players as well that can all get double-digit returns in any given week, really. So you really don't want to miss out on them. Nevertheless, what we'll do is we'll have a look at the fixtures just to see where we might plug the gaps for however many premiums we get in on a wildcard. So I'll reveal the wildcard in a sec. I'll reveal how many of these Fab 4 I've managed to squeeze in. But let's have a look at the fixtures first to see what's sort of changing Game Week 8. Well, annoyingly, I don't actually think this is a great week to wildcard if you're looking at fixtures. Because Arsenal still have a good fixture against Bournemouth, but you don't really want lots of Arsenal against Liverpool, Newcastle, Chelsea, but then you do in Game Week 12. So they've got so sort of Game Week 9 might be a better time for them. Also Game Week 12. So if you've got rid of Arsenal players, you can get them back in Game Week 12. So I don't sort of like it for that. Also Wolves I'd want to invest in. From Game Week 9, they've got Brighton away, and that starts a strong run right until the end of the year. But they do have Man City at home next, so that's not a great fixture. So it's not ideal there. So if you do get Wolves asset, you probably want to bench them this week. So that's why looking at the fixtures, I wouldn't want to wildcard now. But having said that, I have constructed this wildcard with changes from my own team for the purpose of this video, and I really like it. So, you know, who am I to say? The fixture schmixters, the form says that these, I think it's a really good wildcard. And one of the reasons I think the wildcard I've made I like is because I was thinking, what changes could I make? I haven't made any for weeks. So Game Week 8, 9, 10, barring injuries, 9, 10, 11, 12, no transfers needed, I don't think. You can just move it around, so you can really relax with this team. You obviously will make changes. Form will change. There will be fixture changes as well. And I think Game Week 12, there are some changes. Brighton, for example. So Matoma could be a good player to bring in. So Brighton's next fixtures are rubbish. They're third lowest on this table from Game Weeks 8 to 14. They've got Newcastle, Wolves. Wolves is good, but then Liverpool, Man City. But then they got Bournemouth, Southampton, Fulham. Nice little run there. So anyway, for the purposes of those listening, a podcast version, Everton, Leicester, Ipswich, Brentford, Crystal Palace, Manchester United, Fulham and Wolves have strong fixtures over the next 7 matches, 7 game weeks. Liverpool, Bournemouth, Brighton, Newcastle, Villa, Chelsea to some extent as well, very poor. Chelsea's fixtures do improve in Game Week 12. So Game Week 12 is a really good time to wildcard, I think. But nevertheless, I've made a wildcard team for this. I really like it. Okay, let's have a look at what I've come up with. Okay, so this is the team I've got. I've based on my own team, so you know it fits with the budget. My budget is 101.8, I think it is. So just below 102. So some people have more, 500,000 or so more. Some people have 500,000 or so less. Part of the reason it's I think my budget, I feel is high for me, anyways, because I did wildcard and I probably made about 1.5 million in terms of price price changes there. So anyway, for the benefit of those listening to the podcast version, I have gone for Raya in goal. And the reason I've gone for Raya, I did a video you can watch with FPL General about his transfer plans, and we were looking at goalkeepers, and just basically Raya's the best. Get him in and just have him for the rest of the season. All the others have got a problem with them. Either they're not keeping clean sheets, they're just not as good, basically. It's worth spending that extra on Raya and just forget about it. So I've gone for Raya, and then Fabianski is his 4 million backup. Fabianski's good because he will play if Areola misses out. And he's been a reliable FPL asset over the years. So at the back, I have big omission. No Trent Alexander-Arnold. I can't get Trent Alexander-Arnold because in this formation, I've gone for Palmer, Saka, and Haaland. If I want only one of Palmer and Saka, I can get Alexander-Arnold. I can have invest some more money in attack, but I can't. And that's the issue that you've got to deal with if you're wildcarding this week. So anyway, I'll come to midfield in a sec. I've gone for Gabriel. I'm just keeping Gabriel. I kept Gabriel during his tough recent games. He got me 2 goals during that time. And Arsenal, I feel, will rely on his set-piece threat more. And defences still can't handle him. There's also a chance that even during Arsenal's tough run, they will keep clean sheets. So he's got Bournemouth next, great. And then Liverpool, Newcastle, Chelsea could get clean sheets in them as well. And then he's got Nottingham Forest, West Ham, Manchester United. So I'm just not messing around there. Double Arsenal defence, let's keep it. Gabriel's there. Lewis, I think, is a good option, but have a good strong bench as well, because he will miss out on the odd game. But he's only 4.7. I think that's great to get into the Man City defence. And I've gone for Van de Ven, who I originally had in my first draft of my wildcard, and he probably got 11 points, but I would have benched him anyway. But I think with Spurs fixtures, they're quite strong. I really like him. I think he's really great value. Every time I've had him in my team, he's got me attacking returns as well. Good for bonus. He's got one of those amazing runs to get a potential of an assist. Every few games. I think he's good. I think with Spurs fixtures are strong. Got West Ham at home. So Gabriel, Bournemouth away. Lewis has got Wolves away, and Van de Ven, West Ham at home. So good fixtures there. In midfield, I've gone for a 3-5-2 because which can turn into a 3-4-3. So I have not gone for one of those Harry Winks or one of those strikers that will never play, who's 4.5. I'm not bothering with that because I think Rodgers is as cheap as I want to go in midfield, and I think like a Jimenez, for example, who I'll come to in a second, is as cheap as I want to go. In attack, because you can get Brighton attackers then, Pedro when he's back, Welbeck. There's lots of options there. You can run away from them. You can't run away from a Harry Winks. You can't run away from a Stewart or whoever it is who's playing up for Archer, playing up front for Southampton. Okay, so I've gone for Palmer. He's away at Liverpool, but it's Palmer. I've gone for Johnson. He's still in. I got him in last week for Diaz. So I think he's great value, 6.5. I think you're going to get strong attacking returns out of him. And you can tap into those good Spurs fixtures. You got Saka. He's just staying. He's just staying for me. He's just getting returns all the time. And so I think he can get returns in bad fixtures, good fixtures. I'm just staying. I'm messing around with him. Brian and Bomo, I'm not messing around with him as well. I really wish I'd captained him. It takes a lot to not captain Haaland in good fixtures, which he had against Fulham. But I think Brian and Bomo may be more consistent at the moment in terms of every time Brentford score. I know he didn't score every goal in the last match, but I just feel he's going to be on the score sheet. If there's attacking returns from Brentford, I think he's going to get returns. He's away to Manchester United next. Rodgers is in there, away to Fulham. I really like. Rodgers is just great value. He's starting every games, lots of attacking threat, and you can rotate him as well. I've gone for Haaland still. He's my captain away to Wolves. Terrible defence, Wolves, but they've had bad fixtures, and I think their defence and their attack. Well, their attack's already good, but their defence will improve, I think. And I've gone for Raul with him in a 3-5-2 for Gameweek 8. This leaves me with 0.2 in the bank as well, and it's got a 92% rating according to Fantasy Football Scout Planner. FPL Plan, which is on Fantasy Football Scouts app. So do have a look at that. And you can create this and see how it progresses through the game weeks. Meant to get expected points of 52. Basically, it's obviously not accurate. It's just guesswork. But anything over 50, I like, and if it's nearing 60, that's really good. So you would hope for a bit more. So yeah, on my bench, I've got Fabianski. I've got Kuna at Wolves. He's like a must for me, and I'll be looking to get him into my own team anyway. But I feel he's a good enough first sub at home to Manchester City. I also feel he could score against them as well. I've also gone for 8 Nori, got attacking returns, and I do think Wolves' defence will improve. Just parking him there. As I said, with a wildcard this week, you really want to park those Wolves options. I've gone for Greaves. He was in my team originally. At 4 million, you just want someone who's going to play, not lose value, just sit there, might need him. He's at home to Everton as well, so even if he does come on, it's the week after an international break coming up. You will need your bench. So Kuna could end up coming in. 8 Nori could end up coming in. Greaves could end up coming in. I think I'd probably switch 8 Nori and Greaves, but, there's attacking threat there. So I think this is quite strong. And why I think it's particularly strong is because I was going through the game weeks and I didn't really want to make any changes. So let's see how it looks in game week 9. Okay, so in game week 9, it's got expected points even higher, 59, so it's edging towards 60, 93% rating. No transfers made. And I've got benching headaches as well. So depending on what type of manager you are. Now, I think good players, even in bad fixtures, are worth playing. Gabriel, worth playing. But you might not think that. Saka at home to Liverpool, I think is still worth playing. I think he's very strong. So for game week 9, it's got Raya. I'm reading this out for the benefit of those listening on the podcast. It's got Raya, Van der Ven, Gabriel, Lewis still. Lewis has got Southampton at home. Van der Ven, Crystal Palace away. Gabriel, Liverpool at home. So could get a headed goal. Across the same midfield, Palmer, Johnson, Saka, Bomo, Rodgers, Raul Jimenez is away to Everton. Great fixture. Haaland is my captain at home to Southampton. I've got Kuna on the bench for this one, and I probably will change that. I've just done that because he's got Raul Jimenez has got more. But I probably would play Kuna ahead of Raul Jimenez, or perhaps ahead of Rodgers even. Rodgers is at home to Bournemouth. This is good if you've got benching dilemmas already and you don't want to make any changes. This is good for a wild card. So I've got 8 Nori. He's away to Brighton. I think they'll concede. Greaves away to Brentford. I hope they concede because I've got Brian and Bomo in this. But Kuna needs to come in, I think. So one of Rodgers, maybe Jimenez would make way for Kuna for this one. But yeah, good position to be in. How is it progressing through game week 10? Once again, no transfers. I think it's still doing well. 90% rating on the FPL plan. 52 points expected to get there. So Raya, Van der Ven's got Aston Villa at home, but he can be exchanged for 8 Nori. In fact, I would probably do that. I've got 8 Nori on the bench, Crystal Palace at home. So 8 Nori would come in. Gabriel, I'm happy to play him, any fixture, because of those headed goal threat. Lewis has got Bournemouth away. So Lewis, for example, he doesn't play. Well, Greaves from Ipswich, perfect. He's got Leicester at home. So it's a pretty good fixture for Ipswich. About the best they're going to get if they're going to get a clean sheet there. So I'm okay with my defence there. Palmer, Johnson, Saka, Brian and Bomo. But I'm going to bench Rodgers this time around. He's got Tottenham away. Great first sub. And then up front, so I've got 3-4-3 here. Raul Jimenez at home to Brentford. They're conceding. Haaland away to Bournemouth. He'd be a captain choice there. And Kuna at home to Crystal Palace. You want to play him. So yeah, really good. No change I want to make. Let's hope there's no injuries for this one. I mean, even though I haven't got this side, but if you go for this type of side, you would hope that as well. Let's have a look at Game Week 11. Just 2 more to go. I won't do it there forever. Game Week 11. Expected points 54, 87% rating. So it feels it could do a little bit better. But that's probably because a lot of the good players have bad fixtures. I personally do not mind playing great players. So am I going to bench Palmer? No. Am I going to bench Saka? No. I don't care who they're against. Am I going to bench Gabriel? No. I'm never going to bench them. Okay, so I've got 3-4-3 again. Raya in goal as ever. Van der Ven at home to Ipswich, great. Gabriel away to Chelsea, could get a header. Ain't Nori at home to Southampton, brilliant. I've actually benched Lewis this one because he's away to Brighton. They could concede, but nevertheless, he's a great first sub there. And he, arguably he could come in if you don't want to play Gabriel. If you really don't want to do that, I play Lewis there. I mean, there's a tempting to do that, but how annoying to miss out on a Gabriel goal. Palmer is at home to Arsenal. You never know, could get an attacking returns, but great player. Johnson at home to Ipswich, brilliant. Saka away to Chelsea, they're conceding. Brian Mbeumo at home to Bournemouth. Raul Jimenez away to Crystal Palace, great fixture. So Fulham's great fixture run continues. Kuna at home to Southampton, and Haaland away to Brighton, could be a good captaincy shout there. But there are other options as well. I quite fancy Johnson at home to Ipswich. On the bench, Rodgers away to Liverpool. Lewis, as I said, who could easily come in if you don't fancy some of those red fixtures there for those great players. Greaves away to Tottenham. He can just sit there and rot for this game week as well. So, okay, final game week 12. I still haven't made any transfers. So if there's no injuries, if you have this, even if you go into this with no spare transfers, 9, 10, 11. So you've got 3 transfers banked. And you can bank up to 5. Brilliant. Okay, game week 12. You might want to start thinking, well, maybe I will make a change. Because I've got a 3-4-3 here, which has got an expected points of 57 and a rating of 95%. So it's already really strong. Got Raya at home to Nottingham Forest. Gabriel home to Nottingham Forest. Lewis at home to Tottenham. Ain't Nori away to Fulham. Palmer is a credible captaincy this week, away to Leicester. Rodgers, very playable, at home to Crystal Palace. Saka at home to Nottingham Forest, very captainable. Brian Mbeumo away to Everton, very captainable. Raul Jimenez, he's very captainable. The reason I like Jimenez is that even if Muniz comes in, I think Jimenez will continue to play. Also, you can move him to a Brighton striker who may emerge in game week 12. But anyway, he's at home to Wolves, so why would you move him? Haaland at home to Tottenham. A lot of people thinking about removing Haaland around this run. They talk about his sort of a poor run in game week 12. But at home to Tottenham, it's pretty good. Away to Liverpool, I say that's not great, but it'll do. At home to Nottingham Forest, pretty good. Kuna is away to Fulham, so I'll be playing him as well. But it's handy because on the bench, Johnson is away to Man City, so I'd probably bench him. He'd be my first sub. Van der Ven, away to Man City. Benchable. Greaves, home to Manchester United. Could get a cheeky clean sheet there, but it's pretty strong. So game week 12, Brighton's fixtures improve. So you could, with this one, for example, Johnson. Hey, this is perfect. Johnson to Matoma. That looks good. So you could play him if you didn't fancy playing any of these other attackers, which I actually do fancy playing. So if you want to create a bench headache for yourself, get Matoma in. If you didn't fancy Raul, say he's lost his place to Muniz, gets injured, something like that. I mean, he's older, a year older than he was. So you go for Welbeck or Pedro if he's back. There's other options at Brighton. They're very attacking, so I'm sort of steer clear of their defence, but their attack is absolutely fine. And yeah, so I like this. It's annoying. I wish I didn't like it. I did start with the premise of not liking Wildcard in Game Week 8. But I actually think it's really strong if you bear in mind this big fixture swing in Game Week 12. And I think that's quite an important one, and you need to sort of plan ahead for that. But this does enable you to get Palmer and Saka. Big problem, though, no Liverpool. So no Alexander-Arnold. My own team, I want to keep him. Also, my own team, I want the option of getting Salah in if I want to. With this team, it's very tricky. You've got to remove one of those big hitters because you've got very little wiggle room elsewhere. I don't particularly, you wouldn't want to move Gabriel. That's why part of me, the way I play it, doesn't like this. But then my head says this is probably better. It's a better team than my own one. So good luck if you're wildcarding. Good luck if you're not wildcarding. I hope this has given you some food for thought, whichever, wildcarding or not, about possible transfers to make. So I'll just leave you with the image of my Game Week 8 wildcards as it progresses there. So thanks a lot for your time. Take care. See you soon.